Welcome everyone to another IIPC's live debate. We're going to talk about near-death experiences from the perspective of the science Conscientiology. My name is Patricia and I'm here with my colleagues, the instructors Beatriz Vogel and João Nascimento. Hi Beatriz.
Hi Patricia, hi João, hi everybody.
Hello everyone, hi Patricia, hi Beatriz.
Oh, thank you both for joining us today. For those who don't know, the IIPC is the International Education and Research Institution that investigates parapsychic phenomena, consciousness manifestations, self-knowledge, and personal evolution. It's also secular, non-profit, and based on volunteering. For more information on IIPC's activities, stay tuned to our social media. I wish you all a profitable debate. So place your questions and comments on the chat. Let's participate, people. And be attentive to the principle of disbelief. Don't believe in anything, not even in what you are told here. Experiment, have your own personal experiences. So, Beatriz, what could you say about this phenomenon? What is the near-death experience?
Well, the term near-death experience appeared for the first time in 1975 by the psychiatrist Dr. Raymond Moody in his book Life After Life. Dr. Raymond Moody did many researches about near-death experience, and in this book he brings, and afterwards all the other research, bring that the near-death experience, that all the people who are resurrected and tell that they had an experience during the time they were clinically dead, like the brain wasn't functioning. So there are many persons who have this experience during this period of brain death. Like nowadays they say it's between 9 and 12% of the resurrected persons tell afterwards that they have had an experience. And there are many traits, common traits in these experiences. Like, for example, the out-of-body experience, to see herself in the body from another perspective, or the light tunnel. So seeing herself in a tunnel, passing a tunnel that in direction of a light, the feeling of levitation, for example, or the sense of peace, well-being, painlessness. Not everybody experience all these elements, but there are many common traits. Or perhaps the life review, seeing one's life flashing before one's eyes, presence of a light, the sense of awareness of being that in this moment, conscious about the present state, encountering deceased loved ones or beings of light, approaching a border, a moment of decision. Do I return to my body, to my life, continue my life, or am I going really to decide to be dead? Not every time it's a decision of oneself, or sometimes they are related that someone is deciding this. No, it's not your time. You have to go back. You have unfinished business. So return and continue your life. And also this experience are very related to cultural beliefs, like the encounterings. They are cultural related by the individual. So there are some of the elements that people afterwards tell that they had experienced during this time there where they were clinically dead. Nowadays, the science, many say that it's all this experience of near-death experience, there are so biological phenomena. They don't believe. There's still disbelief that it's a real experience, like the consciousness had really experienced during the time that they were brain dead. So there are many explanations what it could be. Many theories about it, like it's a hallucination, There are neurobiological hypotheses like pharmacal hypothesis, it's a natural opioids, the hallucinogens, that's blood cases like hypoxia, anoxia, neurological factors like epilepsy, intrusion of REM sleep, malfunction of the temporal lobe, or there are other theories like psychological theories, like fake memories, birth memories, depersonalizations, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. But all these theories, they can explain some of the experiences, like one of another elements of the experience, but they never reach to explain all of it, what really happened. So it's difficult to explain it through all these biological theories. But nowadays we have many researchers, they already say, they claim it's not possible through this psychological, neurobiological theories to explain what happened. And they claim that perhaps our consciousness is not in the brain, or what we call it like self, it's not the brain. So what is it? Now, if we are not the brain, what could it be? Some of this, we are in Conscientiology, we try to have these talks with other sciences, to have these exchanges, like we had a conference last year, the CIPRO, where we had a debate, very interesting debates with scientists like Dean Rading, Charles Tart, Alexander Moreira. Nowadays they have many articles and research about near-death experience, parapsychism, and even Raymond Moody was in one of our conference, like in our first conference, our first CIPRO in 1919. That was very interesting, the debates that were made there. So if our consciousness is not in our body, so if we can have the other experiences when our brain, our body is dead, clinically dead, I ask usual, so what is the consciousness? Now, how we in the Conscientiology, we understand the consciousness, understand this experience of near-death experience. What's happening? Now, what other explanation can we give?
Yes. This is one of the philosophical questions, isn't it? What is it? Yeah. How can we explain that? Well, the theory we had, and we like to say it is a theory in the beginning, at least, until you have self-proof of what it really is, by applying the principle of disbelief. As Patricia put in the beginning, we always like to start any conscientiological conversation with that, because it's not about belief, it's about testing it, and evaluating and looking at it carefully and coming to your own conclusions, and not just reading something or listening to someone and simply buying that idea. So in Conscientiology, we understand that the consciousness uses the physical body. Yeah, the physical body is one of the vehicles where the consciousness manifests. So to understand near-death experience, once we have this perspective, it becomes much easier, because we can see through these lenses that the consciousness is not the body. Yeah, the consciousness occupies the body, uses the body. Yeah. And we take the perspective that we have 4 vehicles, as you can see in this slide. One of these vehicles will be the soma, the physical body. The psychosoma is the emotional body, where we manifest ourselves in the other dimensions. The energosoma is the energetic body. And there is the mental soma, which is the body of discernment, the body of ideas. And this is where the consciousness is hosted. Yeah. And when we look at this perspective, near-death experience is nothing more than a forced lucid projection. Yeah, a projection that happened by some problem that happened in the body. Sometimes, as Beatrice was saying earlier, yeah, just now, it can happen because of many situations where the body comes to stress. It can happen in surgery, in mid of surgery or something like that. And people have all those perceptions that were mentioned by Beatrice, you know, the feeling of being out of the physical body, being able to see itself, see the physical body. And Conscientiology understands that the main, one of the, of course we can take many important things to understand this, but it's to take this opportunity to understand that life, it's not limited to the physical body. It's not limited to this dimension. Yeah, so that's how Conscientiology looks at this. Yeah, as an opportunity to learn something, to perhaps make a life-changing, or make this a life-changing experience, and then make a better version of him or herself. You know, being able to recycle some postures, being able to move on, and those weak traits that were getting on the way, perhaps holding back their evolution, being able to clean that and become to a new level. Yeah. So near-death experience, when looked at or analyzed as an opportunity, it can really be a benefit for the person, you know, of really understanding. It's like a present, if you may, you know, if you like to understand it that way. You know, it's a present to understand that life is not limited to this body. The consciousness is not limited to this body, you know. So when you come back from, well, when people come back from a near-death experience, they come back with a rich, very rich experience of life and the cosmovision of what life is. So it's a pretty fantastic experience. And as Beatrice said, the scientific, well, the traditional and materialistic approach of scientific approach limits it to something that cannot be taken advantage of. You know, it could be, oh, it's just a hallucination, or maybe you have some psychological issues that you have to work on. And then this amazing opportunity to understand life as something much bigger is thrown away, is put aside. Yeah. And Conscientiology gives people the opportunity to understand this in a much broader sense, to really use it for evolution. And there are many articles to prove that it is not as simple and as plain as some scientists would like to believe it is. Yeah, there is enough proof and enough evidence to prove that the consciousness really survives the physical death of the physical body. Yeah, and this is amazing discovery. But as we said earlier, always apply the principle of disbelief. Okay, this is very important. And how to do that? Well, it's good to understand what the phenomena is, or what all these phenomena, these possibilities of phenomena are, and how to take advantage of them, how to understand them more. There is a vast literature. We literally are going through the era of the information. We have so much literature, so many articles, so many videos talking about it, so many institutions. Conscientiology alone has over 20 institutions talking about all these experiments, all these possibilities. So it is a great opportunity, isn't it, Beatrice? Yeah. It's a great opportunity that people have in these lives and all these studies, yes, all the material that is available, isn't it?
Yes, and we can practice. Now, we don't have to go through a near-death experience to have life-changing events, like to review our goals and to review, yes, what do I want to do with my life? So it's a near-death experience is an extreme event. I don't need to be in this point to almost die to see what am I doing with my life. Well, I see Patricia is back. So, Patricia, do we have questions? You're without sound, Patricia.
I'm sorry, guys. Yes, we do have a question here. It is from George, and he's asking, what are the differences and correlations between the near-death experience and lucid projections? I know that you said some, but could you say something further?
Well, I'm just continue what I was saying. So,
Yes.
The correlations where I was talking about, we don't have to have a near-death experience, not to experience some of the events that people tell they have during the near-death experience. And I think that's already can answer this question, because during a lucid projection, we have many of these events also. Now, I see my body of another perspective outside of my body. I can have this phenomena to see my body. I can have encounters with deceased loved ones or other beings, like the light beings. I don't have to be in a disposition of near-death experience to have this phenomenon. So perhaps to have recognitions, like memories of my past lives, or even to have a review of this life. This is also a phenomenon that is possible to have during a lucid projection. And well, the lucid projection is something physiological. Everyone has this, goes out of his own body every night. When we are sleeping, we have this disconnection, but not everyone remembers the next morning or have the memory about this phenomena. So we can use techniques to be more lucid, to have this this memory the next day, and this is something we can develop. That's the good thing. Patricia, do we have more questions?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
I just want to emphasize, Beatrice said, but I like to emphasize that one of the most important difference, at least I like to point this out, is the fact that near-death experience really happens without the person's control. Yeah. So it may be like in a car crash, in a surgery room, it's something like that. Drug use overdose, for example. Unfortunately, people get to that level and are hurting themselves that way. And this would be, for me, I see this as like the most important difference, because all the other things you see in lucid projection, you can also experience in a near-death experience. So the fact that it's induced by a problem, I think is a big line that we should draw between a lucid projection and the near-death experience. So just to emphasize that point, and then we can move on.
Yeah, for sure, Juan. That's a very important point, right? And actually, this is kind of connected to our next question. Tell us, João, what do you recommend for someone who had a near-death experience and doesn't know what to do with it?
Great question. Well, one of the pillars of the consciential paradigm is self-research. So something that we always recommend in our lives, our courses, our lectures, and everything is, how can you turn any experience into a self-research mode? So the first thing I would say is analyze deeply and methodically, technically, everything you experienced, all the memories you can bring back from that experience. what you saw, how you felt, who you saw, if you met someone, who it was, if you can describe that person or those personalities, those consciousness, the environment. There is a term, a concept that we use all the time in Conscientiology, with thought. Yeah, it's thought, sentiment, and energy. So what was the thought? Yeah, what was the holothought? What was that atmosphere that you felt when you are out of the body? Yeah, so that's those are points that we really like to reinforce. Yeah, thank you. Now we can see the subtitles of the definition of holothought, and these I really understand that this is the most important thing of how to take advantage of that. And then as you making that research, as you studying that, try to analyze what can be the life-changing things that you may take the opportunity to do. Like, was I going the right track? Was I following the right path, or was it the right path for me? It's not about being right or wrong. Is it the best for me? Is it the best for my evolution? How can I improve that? How can I take advantage of this situation into truly an evolutionary opportunity, something that's not only going to help me in this lifetime, but it can truly helps me in the next lifetime, or the intermission for between this life and the next life. So a near-death experience, as I said earlier, is an amazing opportunity for people who have it. As Beatrice pointed out, and I really like this point of view as well, of people shouldn't wait for a near-death experience. Yeah, they can have a lucid projection by working their energies, understanding the whole chakra, understanding the energetic body and everything, and making a lucid projection happen. Yeah, when we get to the situation where we had the near-death experience, we can understand, and each case has to be analyzed carefully in order not to jump into conclusions. But one of the things that we can take into account is that things were kind of out of control already. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like excuse me, Joe. It's like a second chance, no? So if something so extreme happened, like I almost died, no? Why? No, so you were saying this, no, but I'm just pointing out that we have to think about it. Why came to this situation to almost die? No, what went wrong? Now you said should not analyze like right and wrong, but something was out of track. Now, when we think that each one of us is not here in this life to like travel just for leisure, that perhaps we are here to do something. Is it perhaps that we are not doing what we should do, and that it's like a wake-up call? I understand the near-death experience almost like a wake-up call and like a second chance. And we have Patricia here again. But Patricia, have you more questions?
And it's a question about exactly what you're saying, Beatriz. How can NDE be or become a turning point in someone's life?
Yeah, I don't know. I can continue talking what I was saying.
Sure, yes, exactly.
So,
you and the audience are tuned,
Yeah. I was sensing the question because if we with the understand that each one of us had like something prepared to this life. Now we planned this life, or it was planned for us. It depends of our lucidity. So we have plans, and perhaps a near-death experience can be understood like perhaps we were out of our way, and it's a form to say, do you want to continue this way, or do you want to reconnect to what you really planned? So And there comes again the self-research we were talking about. We don't know when we come to this life, we don't know what we prepared for this life, but we can have access to this information. And the out of body, like the lucid projection, is a great way to access some of this information, to have more information, what we intend to do in this life, I think. Do you want to add something, Jerome?
Yes, I'd like to add that there is just a recommendation of a movie. Yeah, there is this film called Saved by the Light. There is the book as well, like who prefers reading than watching a movie. And there's a great example of how, oh, you got the book? Yeah, that's the one. Great, Beatrice. Yes, that's it. And it's an amazing story. It's based on a true story where this man had, he had this manifestation, he had this style of life which was a bit extravagant, he liked drinking, he was, the bohemian kind. And no spoilers, but since we're talking about near-death experience, of course he does have a near-death experience. And as he comes back, but it happens very spontaneously. He does not feel the same anymore. The life he had does not make sense anymore. And then he starts making major changes in his life. And I think this is a great example of how to take advantage and how to be or become, as the question was asking, how to be or become, a different person taking advantage of that. So this film is an amazing example of that. And of course, I haven't had a near-death experience, so I can't say. But one of the things that lots of people report is that the previous life they had, they can even draw a line saying before the near-death experience and after the near-death experience. It's very difficult for people to follow the same path. Something really clicks, it changes, and they can't go back to what they were. Life, the meaning of life changes, and it's truly amazing. It's really, really interesting to see it that way. Yeah,
I think that all these extreme experiences makes us reflect about our lives. Now during COVID, I knew personally some persons they didn't have the near-death experience. They didn't had all this parapsychic phenomena. But when you have a near-death encounter, like you're near to afraid of dying. Now I know some of people that were hospitalized because of COVID, and we're afraid of dying, and how this does an impact of our lives, and to see, do I want to continue like I was living? Was my life meaningful? What I was doing? And it's interesting that in Conscientiology we have one technique that's one life. How is it? How can I say the 1 year life experience? Like you tell yourself, I just have 1 year to live. Now, what would I change? What would I prioritize? What would be most important for this 1 life? I think that's a way like to make changes without having to pass into near-death experience. But you're thinking, in theory, if I have only one year, what would I do? No. Patricia, do you have more questions?
Yes, we do. And actually, you've already answered André Hurtado question, because he asked, could you recommend a book on near-death experience? So if you could show it again, people. What was the book?
Yeah, this is the Saved by the Light. And Raymond Moody, the one that the researcher I told, that he does the introduction. And there is the book of Raymond Moody, Life After Life. There are many books out there, very interesting. Like in Portuguese, we have some books from Conscientiology. We have some volunteers that went through near-death experience, and then that's why they came to IIPC to make courses and to understand better what happened. Like I have a friend and volunteer. She had a near-death experience, and after her near-death experience, she had many parapsychic phenomena that she didn't had before. And we have Lucy Lutfi, like she also wrote a book, but we don't have it translated in English yet. But it's very interesting because she had two near-death experiences during her life. One when she was young, she almost drowned. And afterwards, doing a surgery when she was older, she had another one. And it's very interesting. But there are many books out there.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice, guys. And I have a question for you, João. It's from Jorn. Is the NDE always an accident, an intrusion, or can it also be planned before this life? I know two cases of children age 3 and 4. Why did they have this experience?
Yeah, great question. Great question. Yeah, by Jorn. Very good. Thank you, Jorn, for your question. Very, very interesting to take these experiences and try to understand them. Yeah. Well, we understand that a near-death experience is, first of all, an opportunity to understand the situation, to experiment that. Now, to see if it is an accident, really, then we really have to study individually each case and try to go deeper into what these lives were. And in this case, for example, as you put there, children aged 3 and 4. In my opinion, I understand that's very difficult to analyze. You know, I don't have this cosmovision, you know, to understand what were these children doing in the life before or in previous lives that came down to this and they went through this experience. We can speculate, and understand that perhaps they had this experience not only for themselves, but also to inform the family, for example, you know, to be a gate of information for the family, for the group karma. You know, we can speculate that possibility. We can also speculate the possibility that they really needed to go through that, to have that click, to, you know, have that turning point in their lives right at the beginning of this physical life. So there are many theories we can speculate and try to understand, but to pinpoint, you know, to put the finger on it and say it is these or that, from my point of view, is very risky. And I would say, for me at least, it would be too presumptuous, you know, to say, oh, is this or is that? But there is a number of possibilities that we can assume, we can think about. Yeah, but it's some amazing cases. Yeah, this is pretty amazing, very interesting. Yeah, thanks for the question, Jorn. Would you like to compliment, Beatrice? Do you have any insights about it?
No, I was interesting about the fact that so little children had both a near-death experience. And I would love to read more. I don't know if it's an article or if Jorn knows these children, but it must be very interesting, you know, because if we are talking about a second chance, and we are talking about redirecting life, but I think in so small children, they didn't have much time to go out of the path. So I agree with you, João, that perhaps it is for all the family, some experience for all of them, because for the parents it's also like something
shocking.
Very shocking and traumatic, to both your children passes through something like this, and perhaps to bring all the parapsychic phenomena closer to the whole family. So I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, and related to that, just taking advantage of this question that Jorn brought up, we also have in Conscientiology the concept of mini proaxis, mini existential programmation, So perhaps this is another theory that we could speculate in this case, did these children, as a hypothesis, hypothetically, did these children come to this life with a programmation, an existential programmation that has been planned to be shorter, and at that moment it was like, no, let's get some extra time, you get some overtime, all hypotheses, because it's truly a learning lesson, and for the family this would be a great opportunity to, understand more, to go after, take the opportunity and learn more about it. Very good, very good. And it's great when we see people taking the advantage to do that, because a lot of people just take for granted, they just banalize the phenomena, and it's a shame. It's a shame when people can't take advantage of it. It's an amazing opportunity to see that life is not what the eyes meet, and it's taken for granted. But of course, we have always to respect people's decision. We can resent it, absolutely. So, Patricia, we have more questions.
Yes, Guy. Actually, we're coming to the end of this such interesting talk, right? So we'd like to invite you all to participate in a course about lucid projection, So it's gonna be a fly-in, which is a practical activity to promote lucid projections. It will be an opportunity to leave your body by will and applying specific techniques, just like the instructor said. You don't need to an extreme situation or a wake-up call to master parapsychism or to develop ourselves. So for more information about the International Week of Conscientiology and also this flying activity, please access the website isaaccombs.org, right? And it's been such a nice debate, guys. Very interesting topic. I hope everybody here is inspired to start investigating their own parapsychic skills and trying to have lucid projections by their own, because this is really fulfilling when we actually achieve this. It promotes well-being as well, isn't it? And we hope to see you all next month in the next talk. So stay tuned to IIPC's Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channel. Thank you all, guys, one more time. And Beatriz, anything else you'd like to say?
Well, I just want to thank for the opportunity to be here. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, João, for the great talk and debate. And to thank all that participated today. It was great. Thank you very much.
Yes, I also like to express my gratitude. It's always great to talk, to be part of this, to inform people about this phenomena, and it's great to participate in these lives. And my last, as we put through, my last recommendation is keep studying. Yeah, don't stop studying. Keep researching, read the books. Get in touch. We have many channels where you can use to get in touch, ask questions, find out more about the courses that we offer at IIPC and all the other institutions that are connected to Conscientiology, and don't stop. Yeah, the journey has just begun. Yeah.
That's okay. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.